The phone call comes while I'm walking across campus. Not in a dramatic way. No thunder. No warning. Just vibration against my palm. "Catherine," my mother says. Her voice is already finished with me. "I've withdrawn you from school." I stop walking, but the world doesn't stop with me. Students keep moving, laughing, living lives that still belong to them. "You did what?" I ask. "I submitted the forms this morning. You're coming home. This phase is over." Phase. That's what she calls 4 years of top-ranked engineering, 3 patents pending, and a wing with my last name etched into glass. I feel something cold bloom behind my ribs. Not panic, not fear. Recognition. "You don't have the authority," I say carefully. A pause, papers shuffling. She's smiling. I can hear it. "I'm your mother." That sentence has always been her weapon. It worked when I was 6. It worked when I was 12. It even worked when I was 17 and afraid of becoming myself. But I'm not afraid anymore. "I'm walking to the administration building," I say. "No need," she replies. "It's already done." The line clicks dead. I don't run. Running would mean I believe her. The administration building smells like lemon cleaner and old money. Polished floors. Quiet power. The kind of place where decisions are made in whispers and enforced with smiles. I step inside just as my phone vibrates again. Same number. Before I can answer, a woman in a gray suit intercepts me. Early 40s. Sharp eyes. Calm posture. Someone who doesn't waste words. "Miss Shaw?" she asks. I nod. "I'm the dean's assistant." Her phone rings. She glances at the screen, then at me. Her expression changes, not shock. "Calculation," she answers. "Yes, I see. One moment, please." She turns her body slightly away from me, but not enough. I hear my mother's voice spill through the receiver, tight, insistent, used to obedience. "Yes, she's there," the assistant says, "but there seems to be a misunderstanding." A pause. "No, ma'am, you cannot withdraw Catherine Shaw." Longer pause. The assistant straightens, her voice cools. "Because Catherine Shaw endowed the new engineering wing." Silence stretches. Then, "I'm transferring you to our legal department." She ends the call without waiting for a response. The assistant looks at me now, really looks. "I assume," she says gently, "this is not the first time your mother has attempted to make decisions on your behalf." I don't answer. Because in that moment, something settles into place. This wasn't panic. It was strategy. And whatever my mother is trying to take from me, I don't go to class that day. I sit in a glass-walled conference room overlooking the quad, my reflection layered over the students below. It feels appropriate, me watching a life my mother thinks she can still edit. The dean's assistant brings water. Legal counsel is looped in. Everything is handled with sterile efficiency. Everyone keeps saying the same thing. "You're protected." They don't understand. Protection isn't the issue. Control is. My mother doesn't panic unless she's losing something. She doesn't make mistakes unless she's desperate. And she doesn't move this aggressively unless she believes time is running out. I replay the last 6 months in my head. The sudden concern about my health. The way she started asking about my finances, casually as if curiosity hadn't always bored her. The dinner where she asked, too quickly, if I'd updated my will. At the time, I told myself she was adjusting to my independence. That was the lie I needed. My phone lights up again. A text this time. "You embarrassed me today." Not "you scared me." Not "you crossed a line." Embarrassment. I type nothing back. Instead, I scroll. Old messages, old emails, patterns hiding in plain sight. Her requests always come wrapped in care. Her demands disguised as concern. I think of the foundation paperwork she insisted on reviewing last year. The power of attorney she suggested just in case. The way she's been quietly redirecting mail to her address. A cold thread pulls tight inside my chest. This isn't about school. School is leverage. I leave campus after dusk. The building lights burning behind me like eyes that never close. I don't go home. I don't go to my apartment. I go somewhere neutral, quiet, and I start checking facts. Property records first, then trust documents. Then corporate filings tied to the Shaw family holdings, entities I was told were symbolic, ceremonial, untouchable. They aren't. My name is on everything, but so is hers. Not as an owner, as an executor. A temporary role, she'd said, a safeguard. I see now how carefully that word was chosen. Temporary, Until it isn't, my hands don't shake. My breathing stays even. Inside, something heavier than anger settles in. Betrayal implies emotion. This is logistics. My phone rings again. I let it ring. Then again. Voicemail after voicemail stacks up, each one more controlled than the last. She's recalibrating, switching tactics. I don't need to listen to know what she's saying. You're confused. You're being manipulated. You don't understand what's best for you. The oldest lie parents tell when they want ownership without responsibility. I look at the documents on my screen. At the dates, the signatures, the timing. She's been preparing for this for years. Not to protect me, to replace me. And for the first time, I don't feel hurt. I feel precise. Because now I know this isn't a misunderstanding. It's a hostile takeover. I don't confront her. That's the mistake people make when they smell betrayal. They rush toward it, hoping the truth will soften on impact. It never does. Instead, I slow down. I answer her messages with neutral language. I return her calls with controlled warmth. I let her believe the withdrawal attempt rattled me. Fear makes people careless. Confidence makes them sloppy. I request copies of every document she's ever signed on my behalf, framed as diligence, as maturity, as the daughter she always wanted to parade. She's proud of that version of me. She sends everything. Power of attorney drafts, trust amendments, medical proxy paperwork, each one subtle, each one inching her closer to authority while I was busy building something else. At night, I sit alone with the files spread across my table, the city humming outside like a machine that never asks permission. I don't cry. I annotate. Dates don't lie. Neither do patterns. Every major move coincides with a moment of vulnerability. After my father died, during finals week, right before my first patent cleared. She didn't wait for me to fall. She planned for it. I hire a private forensic accountant. Not because I suspect theft yet, but because I want to know how deeply her hands are already inside my life. The answer arrives 3 days later. She's been moving money, not stealing, positioning, small transfers, temporary reallocations, always within legal bounds, always reversible, always justifiable. That's the most dangerous kind of manipulation, the kind that looks responsible until the moment it isn't. I walk through campus again, this time unnoticed. Students pass me without knowing my name is etched into the building behind them. I like that. Power works best when it's invisible. Another discovery follows. She's been speaking to my ex, not recently, consistently. Long after we ended things, long after she told me she never liked him anyway. Emails surface. Casual at first, then collaborative. She was feeding him information about my schedule, my stress, my doubts. He was feeding her access. A shared language emerges in their words. Concern, worry, what's best for Catherine. I close the laptop and sit in the dark. This part hurts. Not sharply, dully, like a bruise pressed too often to heal. I remember every time she said, I just want you safe. Safety, I realize, is her synonym for obedience. I request one final document from the university archives, a copy of the original endowment agreement. The clause she never read carefully enough. The clause that gives me unilateral authority if my autonomy is threatened by a family member. I smile for the first time in weeks. Not because I've won, because I've finished preparing. My phone vibrates again. We need to talk, she texts. I set it face down. Talking is what people do when they still believe words can fix this. I'm past that. I'm waiting for the moment when she realizes the truth arrives in a sealed envelope, not electronically. Not something that can be deleted or reframed. Paper has weight, intent. I open it alone at my desk, with the city dimmed behind rain-streaked glass. The forensic accountant's final report is clipped neatly inside, tabbed, indexed, clinical. I read it once, then again. She didn't just position funds. She rerouted control, shell entities nested inside trusts. Temporary custodial clauses triggered by vague definitions of incapacity. Language elastic enough to stretch over any narrative she chose to tell. Stress, burnout, emotional instability. All it would take is one signature from the right doctor. One emergency, one well-timed concern. I think of the times she asked how I was sleeping, if I was eating, if the pressure was too much. I see it now. She wasn't checking on me. She was building a case. My phone buzzes, as if summoned by the thought. Her name lights the screen. I answer. Catherine, she says, relief flooding her voice too quickly. Thank God. You've been impossible to reach. I know, I say. A pause. She recalibrates. We need to sit down. This legal nonsense, someone's been filling your head. No, I reply. I've been reading. Silence. The kind that tells me she understands more than she lets on. I'm coming by tomorrow, she says finally. We'll straighten this out. I'll be on campus, I answer. Dean's conference room, 3 p.m. She hesitates. Good. When she arrives, she looks flawless, composed, the image she's practiced for decades, grief polished into authority, concern shaped into command. She smiles when she sees me. I don't stand. I slide the envelope across the table. What's this? She asks. Your contingency plan, I say. Page 12 is my favorite. Her hand still as she opens it. I watch the moment her breath changes, the moment she realizes I'm not guessing. You went behind my back, she says too sharply. I tilt my head. So did you. Her mask cracks, not completely, just enough. I was protecting you, she snaps. You're too close to this. You don't see how exposed you are. I see perfectly, I reply. You weren't waiting for me to fail. You were preparing to replace me. Her voice rises, emotion leaks. I am your mother. I meet her eyes, hold them, and I am not incapacitated. The word lands hard. She knows what it means. She knows what clause I've invoked. For the first time, she looks small. Not weak, cornered. I gather my papers. This conversation is over, I say calmly. Legal will follow up. She reaches for me. I step back. And that's when she understands. The truth didn't free me. It armed me. I don't raise my voice. I don't threaten. I let the system do what it was built to do, respond to precision. By the time my mother leaves the conference room, she's no longer in control of anything that matters. Legal has frozen her authority pending review. The power of attorney is suspended. The trusts are locked behind clauses she can't touch without my consent. She calls it betrayal. I call it containment. 2 days later, I request a formal review hearing. Not to accuse her, to document her. The room is smaller this time, neutral walls, a long table, no windows. She sits across from me with her lawyer, posture rigid, hands folded too tightly. I brought none. I don't need one. The dean opens the session. We're here to assess whether any undue influence or coercion has been exerted over Ms. Shaw's academic and financial autonomy. My mother scoffs softly, controlled, performative. This is absurd, she says. I've only ever acted in my daughter's best interests. I slide a single folder forward. Emails, dates, signatures. Her lawyer's face changes first, then hers. One by one, the pieces are laid out, not emotionally, not dramatically, methodically. Her attempts to contact medical professionals about my mental state. Her coordination with my ex to document perceived instability. Her premature withdrawal forms submitted without authority. Each act alone could be explained. Together, they form intent. The dean doesn't look at me when he speaks. Ms. Shaw, he says to her, your actions suggest a pattern of manipulation designed to remove agency. She finally looks at me then, not with anger, with disbelief. You set me up, she whispers. I meet her gaze. No, I say, I stepped out of your way. The review concludes swiftly. Findings are issued, language careful, consequences devastating. She is barred from acting on my behalf in any institutional or financial capacity. Permanently. Her name will never again appear next to mine on any document that matters. As we leave, she reaches for me one last time. Catherine, she says, voice breaking, you don't understand what you've done. I pause. Turn. I do, I reply. You taught me. I walk away before she can respond. That's the cruelty she never expected. Not rage, not revenge. Distance. The silence afterward is not empty. It's clean. I wake up without checking my phone. No missed calls, no carefully worded concern masquerading as supervision. The air in my apartment feels different, lighter, like a room after furniture has been removed and the floor finally shows its original shape. I make coffee, drink it black, stand by the window and watch the city move without me. For the first time, nothing is reaching for my attention. At the opening of the engineering wing, they say my name like it belongs to an idea, not a person, a benefactor, a visionary, someone distant and unassailable. That's fine. Distance is safety. I don't look for her in the crowd. I already know she isn't there. Legal boundaries have a way of clarifying invitations. I listen to the applause with the same detachment I once reserved for her praise, acknowledging the sound without absorbing it. Afterward, I sign the last set of documents. No contingencies, no proxies, no maternal overrides disguised as care. Just my signature, clean, final. The phone vibrates once that evening. Her name appears. I don't feel a spike of adrenaline. I don't feel dread. I feel confirmation. I open the message. You've made a terrible mistake. One day you'll understand what you threw away. I read it once, then I delete it. Not because it hurts, because it doesn't. That's how I know it's over. People think closure comes with forgiveness or rage or some cinematic moment of release. They're wrong. Closure is quieter than that. It's when the person who once controlled your emotional weather becomes irrelevant to the forecast. I don't hate her. Hate requires attachment. What I feel is sharper, cleaner, absence. Later, lying in bed, I think about all the moments I ignored. The invasive questions, the rehearsed concern, the way love always seemed conditional on compliance. I don't regret not seeing it sooner. Survival often looks like blindness until it doesn't. She taught me how power moves. I just learned how to stop it. Tomorrow, I'll return to my work, my research, my life, not to prove anything, not to punish anyone, simply because it's mine. And somewhere, she'll be trying to understand how she lost me without a fight. She didn't lose me when I exposed her. She lost me when she assumed I belonged to her. That assumption was her final mistake. I don't look back. I don't need to. I'm already gone. The strangest thing about freedom is how quiet it is after the war ends. No music. No applause. No dramatic sense of victory. Just space. I don't hear her voice in my head anymore, correcting my tone, adjusting my posture, reminding me what optics require. The silence should feel lonely. It doesn't. It feels accurate. Weeks pass, then months. My life settles into something sharper, more deliberate. I redesign my days the way I redesign systems, remove inefficiencies, eliminate points of failure. People around me change without realizing why. Colleagues stop testing my boundaries. Administrators stop using euphemisms. Men who once assumed access now hesitate. Power recognizes power. I never announce what happened with my mother. I don't need to. Institutions understand one thing better than emotion, precedent. And I've set one. Late one evening, an envelope arrives at my apartment. Handwritten address. No return label. I already know who sent it. I don't open it right away. I let it sit on the counter while I wash my hands, while I pour a glass of water, while I stand perfectly still and check my body for reactions. There aren't any. That's new. Inside is a letter. Several pages. Her handwriting hasn't changed. Precise, elegant, controlled. She doesn't apologize? That would require admitting fault. Instead, she reframes. She writes about sacrifice, about fear, about how the world takes advantage of women who don't protect their own. Between the lines, I read the real message. I did this because I thought you were an extension of me. I fold the letter carefully. Not out of respect, out of habit. Then I place it in the shredder and watch it disappear in thin, irreversible strips. I feel nothing. That's the point. Somewhere in the city, she's still telling her version of the story, painting herself as the misunderstood architect of my success, the martyr, the warning. I don't correct her. Truth doesn't need defending when it's already operational. I move forward without ceremony. New projects, new investments, new names attached to mine, not by blood, but by choice. Family, I've learned, is just another system, and systems can be redesigned. At night, when I turn off the lights, there's no ache, no longing, no second-guessing, only clarity. She wanted ownership. I chose sovereignty, and that choice didn't just change my life, it erased her from it. The last thing she tries to take from me is memory. It comes disguised as nostalgia. A voicemail, months later, her voice softer than I remember, weathered, almost human. I was looking through old photos, she says. You were happy once. I just want you to remember that. I listen without interruption. Not because I'm moved, because I want to be sure. When the message ends, I don't delete it right away. I sit in the dark and let the silence return to its natural shape. She's right about one thing. I was happy once, but not because of her. I archive the voicemail, not to keep it, but to mark it. Evidence of a final tactic, rewriting the past now that she's lost the future. People like her don't stop reaching. They just lose leverage. A week later, I'm invited to speak at a closed-door symposium. Power players, quiet rooms, decisions that never make headlines. I walk in without an escort, without a name tag. They know who I am. Afterward, a woman I don't recognize approaches me, older, calm, observant. You handled a difficult separation, she says. Most people don't survive that cleanly. I smile, just barely. I redesigned the system, I reply. She nods, understanding. That night, alone again, I think about how this ends. Not with confrontation, not with reconciliation, but with irrelevance. My mother will age. Her stories will dull. Her authority will evaporate. And one day she'll realize the cruelest truth of all. She didn't raise a daughter who needed her. She raised a woman who outgrew her. I don't attend her calls. I don't read the articles she sends. I don't correct the lies. Because she no longer exists in the version of reality where my life happens. Power isn't loud. It's the ability to remove someone from the narrative without asking permission. And if she ever wonders where I went, I didn't disappear. I simply stopped being available. That's not revenge. That's freedom. And it's permanent.